In January of this year, I saw a great video by Fun Films titled The Allure of the Lonely Protagonist, in which he tries to pinpoint why we relate to these lonely characters, a term that is admittedly quite broad, ranging from characters that truly have no one and characters that may have a few people in their corner but still have to face their adversity alone. I highly suggest watching it. I left a comment explaining my own perspective and relationship with these kinds of works, as well as describing something I considered as the passenger effect, where you very much still are the focal point of your reality, but relative to everything on a grand scale, you're just passing through life like everyone else is. I visualize it as being in the passenger seat of a car that's being driven, and no matter what, the final destination is death, the same one we're all headed for. And if you really wanted to flesh it out, the driver is time itself. It's a feeling of navigating such a beautiful, vast landscape, yet seemingly having nothing to do in it that embraces that beauty, and I wanted to explore that. When I watch Blade Runner 2049, the thing that sticks out to me the most isn't watching Kay be treated like another cog in the machine, or be forced to comply, or have his loneliness preyed upon by a nude hologram of Ana de Armas, even though something else is definitely sticking out. It's watching Kay navigate this beautiful scenery, or even simply existing in this vast and unique cyberpunk world, even if it is just the worst aspects of capitalism crammed into a tight space. These scenes are gorgeous, and it at least makes you wish you could see these landscapes in the flesh. But Kay is a character that doesn't get to do anything with these gorgeous sceneries. Nothing that embraces it, at least. He kinda wants to, since in general Kay is hoping to be more than just another replicant. But still, he doesn't. Instead, he's forced to complete the task he was created to complete. But even if he was free to do whatever he wanted, what even is there for Kay to do anyway? He wouldn't know how to embrace this world for everything it's worth. And even further than that, we the viewer barely get to experience how rich the world of Blade Runner really is. We get some great shots, no doubt, but for the most part, we experience what Kay experiences. And as a viewer, it makes me feel like there's so much we didn't get to see. All of this combines into a feeling that is way too familiar, that could be summarized as the yearning for a much deeper connection to life and the world itself. The desire to embrace life in the way you always wished you could. Nier Automata is a game that also causes this effect well, even more so considering it's interactive. You navigate a landscape that is so beautiful despite being in ruin. Now obviously as a player you can explore whatever the game's programming allows you to, but narratively speaking, you're playing an android that is meant to go from point A to point B and follow orders. Narratively speaking, you aren't supposed to take in the scenery. Narratively speaking, you aren't supposed to engage with the world in a way that actually makes you feel connected to it. And then there's Death Stranding, where this channel got half its name from. While it could definitely be argued that the world of this game is not any kind of sight to gawk at, I still see the beauty in it. And regardless, it is quite literally you traveling a vast landscape completing monotonous tasks where you aren't supposed to take any of it in. I know a lot of people didn't like the game, but I found it to be very comforting. I think the fact that these characters don't really speak throughout their adventure amplifies the effect further for me. And most importantly, the fact that these characters are made out to be pretty insignificant in a lot of ways, both narratively speaking and on the larger scale of their world. They're not hyped up to the audience. It's a deeply humanizing thing that as a viewer makes me feel so small in such a big world, and I find it to be quite cozy. If it was a bit confusing before, I think now the idea of being in the passenger seat of a car, unable to get out, makes a lot more sense. This effect makes you want to embrace life and the world around you, but for whatever reason, you can't. You almost feel like you're not even allowed to participate in it. And theoretically, nothing is stopping you, except for the fact that you're nowhere near where you want to be in life. So even the moments you do have here and there feel pretty limited. It makes you wish you were as connected to life and the world around you as everyone else seems to be. When you feel as if you have no control, you can't help but wonder if you really never will get to experience this world the way you always wished you could. So overall, this passenger effect kinda fucking sucks. That is until you gain control over your life. When I first saw the Blade Runner films, it was December of 2020, and when I saw 2049 again, it was the last day of September 2022. The same month I was finally able to start putting my career in motion, and so I noticed that this time around, the movie made me feel different, or rather I was responding to that same feeling differently. Instead of making me yearn for something I didn't really know how to describe, it felt very freeing instead, because it allowed me to hang my ego at the door. I think modern civilization in general pushes us to uphold our egos 24/7. This current wave of intensely capitalist and red pill content has only amplified this further. And even outside of that, when you finally start utilizing the control you have over your life, when you develop the power to write your own narrative, you're still more than likely going to develop an ego alongside that. An ego isn't inherently bad. It's what drives us to be better and achieve greater things. Ego is why we do all the bullshit we wouldn't do otherwise. Because we want that better body, or that bigger paycheck, or a better social circle, and you already know what's required of you if you want to obtain those things. But sometimes it's just nice to take a genuine break. Trying to be something greater than yourself and maintaining that greatness 24/7, It's a lot of fucking work. And to be reminded that I'm still just a person passing through life just like everyone else, it feels nice. It reminds me that I'm literally nothing more than one human being in a sea of billions on such a vast, beautiful landscape. And it's the only thing humbling enough to allow my ego to shut up and try to take in the world around me for a brief moment while I still have the privilege to do so. It's one thing to not have control over something, but it's another to willingly give it up. Everything hits different once it's finally optional, and being a passenger in that car is no different. A lot of this, however, may be also tied to the fact that since the jump, I never truly had an opportunity to just exist. I've either been outrunning death or staring at it my entire life, so maybe the idea of being a passenger and actually being able to enjoy the scenery is now the breath of fresh air I never really had before. Now there's two more aspects of the passenger effect that I haven't mentioned. The first aspect kind of highlights just how abstract and somewhat broad this whole feeling really is. I grew up in a way where I had to go through everything on my own, and it made me develop a specific kind of relationship with life. It's hard to describe, but it's almost like life becomes this tangible concept in your head that you fight with to varying degrees. It's like this thing you still haven't figured out how to conquer, a feeling that'll likely persist up until the point in which you can confidently say you have. Which is funny, considering how strong of an example it is that damn near everything in this world comes back full circle. At the start of it, you have people inviting death because they feel life conquered them, and on the other, you have people inviting it because they conquered life. Seeing these characters endure and triumph over their adversity alone, in combination with everything else I've discussed, just makes it all feel way too familiar, especially the isolation within their deaths or endings. I think when you go through that kind of life, your relationship with it becomes a bit strange. There's so many inner thoughts and changes you keep to yourself. There's a certain place mentally you always return to when you're going through something, and you imagine that when it's your time to go, the last thing you'll naturally do is go back to that place. I know this video covers such a wide range, and that if you were to really think about the scenario, getting out of the car should either not be possible or it straight up breaks the logic surrounding it. But it's quite simply, if anything, my interpretation of my mortality and relationship with life. I imagine that when I'm outside the car, it's still there waiting for me, and as soon as I get back in, it'll continue driving endlessly until there's no more road left. Something that used to offend me almost is now comforting. It's interesting how a change in life trajectory can also change your response to many things. And I wonder how many of you will come to know what I'm talking about as your own life progresses. And if you haven't noticed, the language I've used to describe your lack of control in life has always emphasized that it's a feeling, not a fact, because you always have control over your life. Maybe not to a hedonistic extent, and people still got bills to pay, but generally speaking, the direction your life goes is entirely on you. If you're sitting here watching YouTube videos related to abstract concepts on movies you like underneath a blanket, then chances are you're probably not fighting for your life in some third world country. So you do get to choose the direction your life is heading. You may not like the consequences, but you still have that choice. Overall, the passenger effect is clearly not a concrete thing or something that should be actively identified in media, especially considering I get that same feeling on warm summer nights where there's a nice breeze. Something about it just grounds me in a way that makes me want more out of life. It makes me wish I was having an experience as memorable as the air is. Maybe this video proves more than anything that the feeling is real, possibly even the effect itself in regards to the visualization of it, but what triggers it and how people interpret it is something that varies from person to person. Considering how intimate this whole thing is, it would actually be quite fitting. There's definitely something humorous about relating to the feeling of loneliness through multi-million-dollar blockbuster productions, but damn, they do it so well.